My name is Van,
And I'm Steve.
and we were given a tremendous opportunity to see the Embera Drua Village in Panama. The Embera Drua Village is located on the Tragos River, about 4 miles up north of Lake Alihuela, which is where the Panama Canal is connected to.
And from the start-off point, we rode in what are very large canoes called piraguas, and some of them can carry up to 20 passengers. And the guides that we had, the Embera guides on the top of the piraguas, they are expert navigators, and they use long poles to navigate through rivers that have a strong current or rapids. Embers on the canoe, there was one at the front and then one at the back of the canoe, and for communication they would use hand gestures as well as whistling to indicate to slow down, to speed up, and for turn to the left or turn to the right.
So we're finally arriving to the village and meeting the rest of our group. And the trip from where we started to where we're ending up right here is about 30 minutes.
Alright, getting in, out, the dog just as we got in, one at a time, then all
So once we disembarked from the canoes, we're on the beach bed lying just beneath the village, and everyone was very excited to go into the village. And the current weather at that time was about 85 degrees, partly sunny skies, relatively high humidity, but a nice breeze. And as we go into the village, the Emberas are playing some really nice music and welcoming us, shaking our hands, and all of them are dressed very nicely in their native clothing.
So some background information. The village was founded in 1975 by Emilio Casemos and his sons. The sons married and brought their wives to live in the community, which later attracted more families. Most of the people from this village was from the Darien regions, and they moved out because of the increasing dangers of the Colombian guerrillas and the drug trafficking. And they also wanted to be closer to the city to have better access to medical services and educational opportunities. So we arrive at this hut, and then we are welcomed by the chiefess Andrea, and she's here to educate us about the culture. And
This is Christian, our guide, did a fantastic job on the trip, and he is acting right now as our interpreter. And for lunch, we were served a delicious dish of fried tilapia, fried plantains, and Christian himself made some juice out of fruits that he had grown in his backyard, soursop, tamarind, as well as pineapple and rice juices. They were delicious. And part of the Embera culture is to have tattoos, but they're not really tattoos in the American sense. They are drawings painted on by a fruit, and the fruit is called jagua. It's a very important fruit in the Embera culture. It's edible, and they have used it for body dyes for a very long time. It's hard and needs to be grated, and then the pulp is mixed with a very small amount of water and squeezed by hand to extract the liquid that actually acts as the dye.
this dye actually has medicinal properties such as anti-inflammation and also bug repellent.
After the jagua dye is applied to the skin, it can take up to 2 weeks for it to come off of the skin. In fact, you can't scrub it off, and you can't use soap to get it off. It just has to come off through natural exfoliation.
So as we were walking around the village, we noticed that it's a very humble village, but it's very practical for jungle living. And we also spot a school, but everything is very basic.
The garments that the Emberas wear are all handmade, and the colors are extracted usually from different types of fruits and leaves, as well as plant fibers. And as you can see, the colors are amazing. Traditional houses of the Embera village are composed of single rooms with a fire pit at one end and living spaces at another. and they're traditionally built upon stilts, mainly to protect against wildlife as well as any flooding that may occur. And the walls are left open for improving the ventilation. And the Embera villagers actually have many different types of dances that they perform, and they involve flutes, drums, turtle shells, and other percussion instruments. And the instruments actually help lead the dancers on natural movements which mimic different types of animals. And dances are performed mostly during social gatherings, ceremonies, and of course to welcome visitors such as us to their village.
So when the Embera Drua people moved to their current location, not long after, the Panamanian government actually declared that area a national park. And so that endangered their lifestyle of hunting, gathering, and fishing, and they had to find another way to sustain themselves. So since they're located at a great location with plenty of beauty of the forest around them, they turn to ecotourism to support themselves. They sell arts and crafts, they do tours to educate people and just to bring awareness to their culture.
And before their land was turned into a national park, the Emberers were basically semi-nomadic, and they relied on hunting for a lot of their food. And after their land was turned into a national park, they had to rely more on agricultural type of products, so they started to go into farming.
To wrap it up, I just want to thank everyone at the village for welcoming us into their home and educating us about their culture and their way of life.
We also want to thank Ronald and Christian, our two guides, to opening our eyes to a wonderful culture in Panama.
We just wanted to say that we really enjoyed this trip. It was definitely an eye-opening experience of getting to see how they live and just be able to be educated about their culture, and definitely recommend it for any people that want to check out the Embera Drua Village. Thank you, everyone.